welcome back to the One Globe 360 YouTube channel. So on today's video, I'm going to be talking all about my experience doing the Delhi to Goa G Adventures tour. So I visited India in October 2018 and it was my first time travelling solo outside of Europe. I was so incredibly excited, nervous of course, but overwhelmingly excited to spend the next month in India. So I did the 15-day Delhi to Goa tour and then spent the next 2 weeks volunteering in Goa. And in this review, I'm going to be outlining what I did in every place that we visited, my thoughts on the trip overall, as a whole, and the budgeting, the accommodation, my thoughts on the CEO. So yeah, just an overall review of the trip. So the tour started in Delhi, and although I wasn't there long enough to explore the city properly, it really made me open my eyes to what living in India was really like. It was hectic yet incredible. I'd never visited a country like it before. There were just people everywhere, motorbikes behind you, in front of you. Life was so fast paced and I loved just observing it. And after one night in Delhi, which included the welcome meeting and dinner, we woke up early the next day to take a train to Agra. So I'd say the accommodation in Delhi was really good. As I was travelling alone, I had a room to myself. But yeah, the room was clean, it was spacious, and it was located near to lots of restaurants and shops as well. So the next destination on the trip was Agra, and Agra was one of my favourite destinations on the trip, largely due to the Taj Mahal. Ever since I've developed a love of travelling and a desire to travel to all of the wonders of the world, I've always wanted to visit the Taj Mahal. So we spent the morning exploring Agra Fort before spending the late afternoon walking around exploring the Taj Mahal. The experience was made even better by our visit being during the sunset, which made the Taj Mahal even more beautiful than it usually is. And I made sure to fully take in the experience and walk around and take in all the surroundings. It's not every day that you get to walk around the Taj Mahal, and especially, like I said, it's been my dream to visit all the wonders of the world, and Taj Mahal was up there on one of the things I wanted to visit in the world. So it was a fantastic experience, and we did seem to attract quite a lot of attention as well at the Taj Mahal, which was something that none of us were quite used to in a way. Several people asked for selfies and it did feel like we were famous in a way, a bizarre yet cool feeling. So in terms of the accommodation in Agra, again like Delhi, the hotel was very good. It was slightly more luxurious than the hotel in Delhi, but not as spacious. The Wi-Fi was good though, staff were very friendly. We again didn't spend a lot of time at the hotel as we were out for most of the day exploring Agra. We explored Agra Fort and the Taj Mahal, so we didn't spend a lot of time in the hotel, but overall was really good. So the next destination on the trip was Jaipur. Now Jaipur is known as the Pink City and is full of history, culture and adventure. As a group, we took a walking tour of the city and walked past several street markets and vendors selling lots of different types of spices. We also tried a mango lassi, which is a popular Indian yogurt-based drink. We then walked up to a viewpoint which gave us 360-degree views of Jaipur, which was incredible. And then we went on a rickshaw ride to a local Bollywood cinema. Now, watching a Bollywood film has been on my bucket list for, since I can remember, so that was a fantastic experience. Despite the film being in, a different language to my own, the experience was, something that I'll never forget. And the cinema experience was so much more than it is in the UK where I live. Everyone was shouting and cheering when their favourite actor came on the screen. So that was fantastic. And then the next day, after a short tuk-tuk ride, we all went on a guided tour of Amber Fort. And Amber Fort is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the architecture is something that I've never ever seen before. It was remarkable. It was also in Jaipur actually, before I forget. So the next destination on the trip after Jaipur was a place called Tori Sagar. So after our time in Jaipur, we arrived in Tori Sagar. It was a small rural village southwest of Jaipur. It was very different to India's busy cities, and it was great to experience, rural life in India. It was a great contrast. During our time in the local village, we went on a guided walking tour and met many of the local people who showed us their homes and work that they do around the village. We also played a game of cricket, which was something that I was desperate to do, as I'm a massive cricket lover, having played since I was very young. So, and cricket is so popular in India, and it's a massive aspect of Indian life, which was why I was so keen to play a game out there. So as we headed though into the evening after the cricket match, we all went on a sunset jeep safari to the sand dunes, and we got to see one of the most incredible sunsets that I have ever seen. India's sunsets are honestly the best that I've seen out of all the countries that I've visited in the world. And then after sunset, we headed back to our accommodation and enjoyed some lovely dinner. And then some of the local people from the village came and gave us some henna tattoos as well. And I've always loved getting henna tattoos. So yeah, it was a brilliant time. So with regards to the accommodation in Tori Sagar, it was very different to what we had experienced so far. We stayed in a small hotel in the village, which allowed us to experience what it was like to live in rural India, which I really liked. It also had a rooftop area where we sat and ate dinner and also enjoyed a few drinks in the evening. It really did feel like a homestay, which is what I really liked about it, as we met so many of the local people and they were so welcoming and they, were so eager to show us around their village. So yeah, it felt really like a homestay. It was fantastic, like I said, to see the contrast between, rural life in India and the busy city life. So the next destination on the trip was to Pushkar. Now, Pushkar is India's holy city and is a pilgrimage site for Hindus and Sikhs. So on arriving in Pushkar, we went on an orientation walk to, sort of discover the city and see what it had to offer, which included a visit to the lake. So the lake is very significant as Brahma is believed to have built the lake by combining the waters of some Hindu holy sites. And also the lake is one of the most prominent spots for pilgrimage as well. And then early the next morning, after a 4 a.m. wake-up call, which at the time was tough. I'm not a morning person, but I decided to climb the hilltop Savitri temple to catch the sunrise. And like I said, despite not being a morning person, I'm so glad that I decided to go and see the temple. I definitely recommend it to those looking to do this tour as well. Definitely would recommend. Out of all the things I did on the trip, this was one of the my particular highlights. And the sunrise was over the Thar Desert Mountains, which was one of the most beautiful sights that I've ever witnessed. We were also joined at the temple by some monkeys, which I did initially become a bit fearful about, but they were absolutely fine and they kept their distance from us, so that was all okay. And then for the rest of the day, I went with some people from my group to just explore the local markets and have a bite to eat. It was our sort of relax day where we could sort of decide what to do. And we ended up spending most of the day in a local restaurant using the free Wi-Fi, which was, it was good, it was fun. We maybe could have made more of the day, but we just wanted to relax and chill. And then in the evening, I chose to do one of the optional activities, which was a camel ride in the desert. So talking about the accommodation in Pushkar now, I would say it was probably my favourite accommodation of the whole trip. It was a massive hotel, a big complex with beautiful gardens, a big swimming pool, which was a bonus for all of us, because we hadn't had a swimming pool in any of the accommodations so far. So yeah, added bonus. The rooms were the biggest we'd had so far, and the hotel offered I'd say probably the widest variety of food out of all the hotels that we stayed at. So like I've said before, like all the hotels, the food was very reasonably priced. Probably no more than about £5 for a meal and a drink. So after Pushkar, we continued our journey south to Udaipur, which is named the Venice of the East, and is known as India's most romantic city. So after the orientation walk, we all took a boat ride on Lake Pichola, which was so relaxing, and the surroundings were honestly breathtaking. I understand now why they call it the Venice of the East. It really was amazing. And the next day, most of our group took an art class, which was really fun, despite my awful art ability. Honestly, I was really bad, but like I said, it doesn't matter. We all had so much fun. We had a great guy who was teaching us how to draw. I think it was some animals we were drawing, so I think I drew an elephant. They provided all the, the materials and everything. So again, that was an optional activity. I think there were a few options to do on that day, which included, the art class. So yeah, I opted to do that as my optional activity, which was brilliant. And then some of the group also did a tarot reading as well, which was another option. And then we all had, as a group, another opportunity to go and visit the place where they filmed the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. And we all jumped at the opportunity because we all absolutely loved the film. So on arrival, we watched the first film just to sort of get an understanding of the surroundings, obviously as we were there. So we watched the film and then we're taken on a tour of the hotel. It was a great experience to see the set, from what was such a popular and successful film, with so many well-known actors. So it was brilliant. Like I said, fantastic opportunity that I only would have got by doing the G Adventures tour. I would never have known about the opportunity otherwise. And then the owner of the hotel then took us around the local village where we got to meet many local families, and some of them very kindly showed us into their homes as well. So again, like I was saying earlier, we really got an understanding of, living in rural India, and they were so welcoming. It was a very heartwarming experience to be personally invited into their homes. And yeah, like I said, they were so welcoming. And again, they wanted to take photos with us all, which was really nice as well. So the accommodation in Udaipur was very similar to the accommodation in Agra. It was very modern, very spacious, with a restaurant serving lots of delicious Indian food. From what I can remember, it was located in the heart of the city, which meant we all had great access to all of Udaipur's best sites just a short walk away. So in Jaipur, like I've said about all the other accommodations before, it was fantastic. We stayed at the Jaipur Inn. The hotel was brilliant. The rooms were incredibly spacious. The food was excellent and very cheap. And it even had a rooftop bar slash cafe. The rooftop bar offered, panoramic 360-degree views of Jaipur city, and the location was excellent, really close to the shops, restaurants, just a perfect location for the trip. So the camel ride was one of the optional activities during our time in Pushkar, and then after the camel ride, we ended up in a local village, and we were treated to some delightful food. It really was so nice. Out of all the food I had in India, it was probably one of the best. And also some, entertainment and dance. We had fire blowers, we had local dance. They got us to get involved as well, which was really funny because I'm really not a very good dancer at all, but it was good fun to get involved. And yeah, we got to wear some of the traditional clothing as well. So it was a really authentic evening, great company, fantastic experience. So would highly recommend it to people that are going on the tour. So Amber Fort is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the architecture is something I've never seen before. Honestly, it was remarkable. And it was also in Jaipur too, where I did something that I have always dreamed of, a sunrise hot air balloon ride. It was such a special experience, and I'll never forget how peaceful it was, just gliding over the outskirts of Jaipur and waving at all the people below, looking up in awe of what, we were standing in. I remember never feeling very fearful or scared, and I think that was just because of how peaceful it was, despite the great heights that we were reaching. Definitely was due to just the peaceful nature and the silence of the experience. But yeah, that's something that I really love about the G Adventures tours, is the optional activities are fantastic, and especially on the tour I did in India, as I've been talking about, the optional activities were absolutely amazing, and really good value for money as well. The penultimate stop on the trip was Mumbai, and when I first looked at the itinerary for the trip, I was particularly excited to visit Mumbai. We took an overnight train from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, and the overnight train was also a fantastic experience. I've always wanted to experience an overnight train in India, so I was really glad again to see on the itinerary that this was included. But yeah, so we took the train from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, which was, it was quite a long train, but like I said, really good to experience. And then on our first day in Mumbai, we all decided to take a guided tour of the city. So we were all split up into lots of different taxis. There's about 2 or 3 in each taxi, and they were all air conditioned, which was a bonus as well. And we were all taken to lots of the key landmarks in Mumbai, including the Gateway of India. And we were also taken to Dharavi, which is considered one of India's largest slums. And I'd learned a lot about Dharavi during studies at school and lessons at school, but I never thought that I'd get to see it with my own eyes. So yeah, something I'd never experienced, and I didn't know, before I went on the trip, I didn't know that this was an opportunity. There was an opportunity to go and see Dharavi. So we all went during the day the main day we had in Mumbai. And I'll always remember learning about their strong community spirit and how happy they are despite the poverty that they are living in. There are huge economic and social disparities in Mumbai. As just 20 minutes down the road from Dharavi, after we visited Dharavi, we actually then drove back and saw the house of India's richest man. Now, the house, which literally looks more like a hotel, is worth £630 million. So it just shows you the contrasts in Mumbai, just a short distance away from each other. Mumbai is such a beautiful city, and the tour allowed me to get an in-depth experience of life in the city as a whole. And in the evening, we got to experience Mumbai's nightlife, which was really, really fun. And we spent the evening at a local bar, which included dancing with some of the locals as well, which was good fun. So we didn't spend too much time in the accommodation in Mumbai, but it was okay. It was somewhat on the small side, but nevertheless, still good. The Wi-Fi was good, the beds were comfy, and again, it was in a good location, so overall it was good. So the final destination on the trip was Goa. So we took a short flight from Mumbai to Goa, and then we spent the first day just chilling in the pool at the hotel and at the beach for a beer during the sunset. And it was in Goa that we experienced the G Adventures big night out moment that they always do on the tours. The night out was so much fun, and it ended the trip on such a high. We had a fantastic tour group, and what I love most is the diversity of the group, as we all came from countries all around the world. Goa is a super cool and fun place, fantastic for young travellers, and a perfect place to end an incredible tour. So talking about the accommodation in Goa, the hotel was fantastic. My room could have fit a whole family and it was that big. There was also a pool and a restaurant/bar area, which was also brilliant. The service was excellent, and also it was only about a 10 to 15 minute walk down to the beach, so which made it an extra bonus as well. So overall, I'd highly recommend going on this G Adventures tour, as I got to visit so many places in India in just 15 days. The tour allowed travelling in India to be stress-free, and the tour leader, JD, was fantastic at looking after our group and ensuring we all had such a good time. I felt safe at all times, and the accommodation was always of a high standard. So if you're considering doing this tour, book it now. Literally, don't wait any longer. Book it now and you will not regret it. So that's the end of the video. Thank you so much guys for watching. I really appreciate all the support on the YouTube channel. If you haven't really heard about One Globe 360 before, my name's Ellie, and I create social media content. I have a podcast, I have a travel blog, and also the YouTube channel as well. So there's a new podcast every Friday with just a chat with travel bloggers, vloggers, some of my travel friends from around the world. As you're watching now on the YouTube channel, there are lots of videos. As you're watching now on the YouTube channel, I'm going to keep trying to upload every week. I've got videos already up about all my other G Adventures tours that I've done, with sort of all the videos and photos from the trip. So yeah, I'm going to try and upload more on YouTube. So like I said, thank you so much for all the support so far, with the podcast, with the YouTube, the travel blog, and all the social media. It's at One Globe 360 for all my social media accounts. You can find the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And like I said, I upload every Friday, so there'll be a new podcast every week. So yeah, I'm just going to try and keep uploading as much as possible. If you've got any advice, recommendations for things I can do to improve on, or put a comment down below, if there's anything you'd like me to write about or make a video about, whether it's G Adventures tours or just traveling in general, please let me know. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you next time.